Hello and welcome to Decision 2021, TV Tacoma's live coverage of tonight's general election. I'm Carol Mitchell. Tonight we will bring you up-to-date information on the election returns and interviews with the leading candidates in the race for mayor and each of the Tacoma City Council races. First up, let's take a quick review of the Tacoma City Council races as they stand right now. Of course, the big race of the evening is that for Tacoma mayor. Challenging incumbent Victoria Woodards is Steve Haverly. Haverly is a newcomer to politics, having never held elective office before. He is, however, a lifelong resident, that is, of Tacoma, whose family has been in the city for generations. Mayor Victoria Woodards has a long history of elective office and civic engagement and has been mayor of Tacoma since 2018. For Tacoma City Council Position 6, which is being vacated by Lillian Hunter, both candidates are also fresh faces in city politics. Although they are new to the political landscape, Kiara Daniels and her opponent Brett Johnson are both very active in local community service. Council District 2 is another race with both candidates being relatively new to politics. Currently held by Robert Toms, the district seat represents primarily Northeast Tacoma, the Tide Flats, and much of downtown Tacoma. Both Sarah Rumbaugh and Kelly Blucher are active in the community on a number of levels. The race for District 4 sees Israel James McKinney challenging incumbent Catherine Ushka. And while another person new to politics, Mr. McKinney is no stranger to the Tacoma community. Of course, Councilmember Ushka has been on the City Council since 2018 and also held a number of elected offices before. Council District 5 sees Joe Bushnell squaring off against Ann Artman. Both candidates are very engaged in the community, having been involved through elected office or community service. The seat is currently held by Councilmember Chris Beal, who has decided not to seek re-election. We've got a full night ahead of us, so stay tuned. We'll be right back with a conversation with outgoing Tacoma City Council member Robert Toms. Stay right there.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places.
So I've thought a lot about what I miss the most during this pandemic. And the thing that I miss the most is you.
I love playing to a live audience. There's nothing like it.
There's nothing like feeling the love that you guys give to us and we're trying to give to you. And I just can't wait to get back to that.
All these places that we stand in, the Ryman, Opry House, those places are just places if you don't put the people in them.
The COVID-19 vaccines are going to help us all get back to the moments we miss.
It's totally normal to have questions. I did too. That's why it's so important to get informed.
There's a lot of talk out there about the vaccines. So ask your doctor and get the facts. It's up to you.
While consumer use of electronics continues to grow, the environmental footprint continues to shrink, thanks to lighter, less material-intensive, and more energy-efficient products. The Consumer Technology Association and its members want to help minimize environmental impacts by making recycling old tech devices as easy as buying new ones. Your old TV, smartphone, or computer can give new life to new products. Go to greenergadgets.org, put in your zip code, and find convenient drop-off locations. Live green, buy green, and recycle responsibly at greenergadgets.org.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dad. Happy birthday to you.
What are you going to wish for, Grandpa?
Don't just wish you had taken care of your hearing loss. Take action today. Visit actnow.onhearing.com to learn the signs and find an ASHA-certified audiologist near you.
My kids put skis on as they were learning to walk. Yeah, just shuffle your feet.
I would just take Joan and put her inside my jacket, and we would just sit there and drink hot cocoa. I want my kids to have those moments with their kids.
Keep going, keep going. All right, now put your feet down.
From the second you have a child, you want to do everything you can to protect them. I think our action on climate change is no different. It's just an extension of being a mom. Being a scientist, I'm worried about climate change in so many different ways for my kids that I might start crying if I dwell on it too much. I think that if we come together, pretty much anything is possible.
Innovation transforms the world, moving us forward not just in steps, but in leaps and bounds. Innovation created a healthcare system so extraordinary, it not only improves the lives of veterans, it transforms the lives of healthcare professionals, collaborating through integrated care teams, accessing the latest technology, working with the most advanced medical science, and even creating it. Like discovering new ways to integrate technology with the human body. It's a unique culture of transformation that leads to solutions that best serve our veterans. The Department of Veterans Affairs, where innovation ensures those who served our nation are served by the very best. See how a career at VA can transform your future.
Welcome back. The race for Tacoma City Council Position 2 has two new faces vying for the seat. And with Councilmember Robert Tom's term limited, there's some big shoes to fill. Not that he has big feet, he just left some big shoes. And joining us right now to discuss his time on the City Council is Robert Toms. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Carol. Thank you for your coverage of our elections.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. 8 years seems as if it went by like 8 minutes. I'm just wondering, what in that time frame do you see as your proudest moment, maybe your most significant contribution to the council?
Well, I mean, it's been an extremely honoring and humbling role to be able to serve the citizens of Tacoma for my 2 terms, and then I was appointed for 2 years when Jake Fye went and served us in Olympia. So I've always felt very privileged to be able to represent the heart of not only our region, but the District 2 is the heart of our city of Tacoma. And so the issues are vast, but the opportunities are to reorient our citizens towards good government and making sure that government's a good, effective partner. Because I grew up under the belief that all politics is local. And if you strive to be a leader within your own community, perhaps that might translate into other roles that you might play in the future. So there's a lot of things, but I'm mainly focused on quality of life, public safety, and then also expansion of business opportunities in our community.
How do you think you did? If you had a Robert Toms scorecard, how do you think you did in each of those 3 areas that you just named as a priority? Let's start with public safety or community safety.
Public safety, I feel like we made really good gains. I mean, obviously I wasn't on the council when there were precipitous cuts that were made in the mid-2000s, but I was proud to help fund and lead the charge for creating a new fire station on the Tide Flats. It's our first new fire station in almost 2 decades. We saved all of our fire services and not only kept all of our engines going during this last COVID sort of recession, but we actually added firefighters because now they're providing essential transport services. Public safety, the mayor and I, when she was still a city councilwoman, put the first new resources in for trying to hire more officers to create some restoring of services that were cut back in 2008. Very proud of that. Because public safety is about making sure the community feels safe. And as we transform, I think we will find that we're going to do it differently, but we're going to do it better. And that may in fact mean more investments, which I'm proud to be supportive of the additional resources we're putting in right now. We just funded body cams, which I believe brings more transparency and accountability, and also resources that we're putting in to lower crime with creating greater presence throughout our community.
How do you feel about the investments that the city has made in behavioral health, for example, the things that happened before the 911 call? Do you feel you've made as much progress on that side as we might have made on investments in the policing side of the issue?
I think we are actually. I mean, the budget that we have now, I believe, is roughly just under 10 million that we're putting in towards housing, supportive services. Obviously, mental health in and of itself is sort of an issue that's largely, the jurisdiction of both state and federal government. But unfortunately, when those safety nets fail, the local communities have to build, capacity to support those who are experiencing it. So as we saw Western State sort of have some we're making gains. I would be happy to put even more money in our budget out of some of the ARPA monies that we have to try to solve street homelessness, as well as in my strategy would be to continue to try to put people into a pathway towards stability. So there's always more to be done. I hope my colleagues that will precede me on the city council and my successor will invest a lot of time and energy towards making sure our state and federal partners are ready to support us as we try to move people off of our streets and into a pathway towards stability.
Thank you for that comment, Councilmember Thoms, and for joining us tonight and for your 10 years actually of service on the City Council. We're going to take a short break, but don't go away. We'll be back for a conversation with outgoing Councilmember Lillian Hunter. We'll be right back.
Your password isn't secure. There's nothing that a hacker loves more. But there's an easy thing you can do to prove the logger in is you. Authenticate, strong authenticate. Make your logins extra safe. Protect your identity from tragic fate. Authenticate, strong authenticate. Use your fingerprint, your face, or a code. At home or work or on the road. 2 steps are safer than 1 or 3 or 4. And keeping data safe is so much fun. Authenticate, strong authenticate. Make your logins extra safe. Protect your identity from tragic fate. Authenticate, strong authenticate.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So, yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Have you ever seen somebody treated unfairly because of the color of their skin?
Do you guys know what it means to have white privilege?
What is racism and what do you think about it?
Talk to young children about what racism is, giving them the language to understand it. They can be disruptors. They can shape and shift culture.
We may not always know the answer, but we'll try and help you learn.
You don't have to have all the answers, but that doesn't mean we can't start.
There is the therapeutic aspect of music, just expressing how you feel.
Kids use music as a way to provide language for their emotions.
Talking about my feelings with my mother, I'm just be quiet. In the back of my head, I'm like, man, this ain't it.
I'm going to talk to Howie about his feelings, make it into a song.
As a young girl, I just grew to love using power tools, pouring concrete, and doing things that were scary and loud, and yet I looked around and realized no other girls are doing these things. As I grew up, I realized that girls need to see themselves in this space. Start here. So that's what I set out to do, and I became an educator and a mentor for young girls. No masks down till clear. Making teaches girls how to think of their ideas as important. Go light. It changes the way they think about what they're capable of. If I can fuse metal, what can't I do? Perfect. Look at how good that was. And so I think Making for Girls is about voice, and that's what's really exciting, because we're building the world we want to see for ourselves. Now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Welcome back to TV Tacoma Election Night coverage. I am Carol Mitchell. Before we talk to our next guest, let's take a look at some of the returns. I know you want to know, what are those results? At the moment, Mayor Victoria Woodards is leading the mayor's race with 57.78% of the vote. Kiara Daniels is leading in her race with about 58% of the vote. Sarah Rumbaugh leads for Tacoma City Council District 2 with 63.84% of the vote. And incumbent Catherine Ushka is leading her race in District 4 with 65.98% of the vote. Joe Bushnell is leading with 56.14% of the vote for District 5. And for Tacoma Civil Service position number 1, Eric Hansen is leading with 73.99% of the vote. Position 2, Dan Sexton, I think the returns that I saw, he had about 90% of the vote for position 2. And at the Port of Tacoma, John McCarthy retains his seat with 79.92% of the vote. And Dick Marzano with 61.45% of the vote for position 2. And Don Meyer, another familiar face at the Port of Tacoma, 56.2% of the vote. Rosie Ayala actually is being led by Carolyn Edmonds, who has 53.35% of the vote, and that's for Metro Parks Tacoma Commissioner position 3. So along with those races, we also have a contest for Tacoma City Council position number 6 with Kiara Daniels squaring off with Brett Johnson. And what's interesting here is that sitting council member Lillian Hunter has chosen not to seek re-election. So joining us right now, we're going to find out why, is council member Lillian Hunter. Thank you very much for being with us this evening.
Carol Mitchell, it's always a pleasure to be in your company, whether it's virtual or in person, and thank you for having me here this evening.
Thank you so very much. I miss your food, right? The last time I think I was in your company, you had prepared this amazing meal. People might not know your secret life as a caterer.
Well, yeah, well, I have my moments there, and tonight, no catering celebrations in my household tonight, except I'm celebrating for other people tonight, which is a very good thing.
Now, we have to ask the tough question of why you did not seek re-election. Everybody thought that you might, or a lot of people did, and you came out fairly soon and said, no, that wasn't the direction you were headed. Is there a specific reason why you made that choice?
Carol, I think the tradition is that a candidate will run for 2 terms, which is what's allowed under the city council charter. When I ran the first time, I did so as a capstone to do to pay back to the city of Tacoma that has been so good to me for 50 some years since I first arrived here. As you know, I had a lengthy career in public education, which I retired from when I won the council seat. I've also done some significant community service with regard to being on the library board and also being a trustee at Bates Technical College. I wanted to do this one capstone activity, and I was always iffy about a second term. In fact, when I set up with the Human Resources Benefits Department, they asked me if I wanted to participate in the retirement program because I would be vested after 8 years. And I declined to do that from day one because I said I was really focused on having a productive be a one-term wonder. And then I am heading happily into retirement come January. I am the oldest person, proudly the oldest person on the council. And I think when you start closing in on 70, it's time to step aside and let someone else do the work. And I am happy to cheer from the sidelines and wish them all the best and all the success that they might realize on behalf of the city of Tacoma.
Thank you for that. I wish you were whispering in the ear of some of our national congressional leaders right now who seem to never get that message through their heads. I appreciate that very much. I do want to know what your advice might be. You were a new council member, new to political life, at least in that respect. What advice do you have? Right now, Kiara Daniels is leading her race, but what advice do you have for your successor?
Well, first, I want to congratulate Kiara Daniels for running a spectacular campaign. She got out there early. She worked it hard. She showed up at meetings. She went after the endorsements and was formidable in her fundraising efforts there. And it's amazing how lucky you get when you work hard. So congratulations to Kiara, and look forward to meeting you and assisting you in the transition. I think my advice, not only to Kiara, but to any of the electeds tonight, even the re-elected, is I believed that being an elected was a duty to serve and represent all of the people in Tacoma. And that means that you have to be willing to listen and meet with people who have perhaps differing ideas or divergent opinions on issues. So the reality is that public service and elected service is not about you getting your own way. It is how do you represent the most people and get the most wins across the board. And that takes collaboration, it takes patience, and it takes due diligence. And so I would encourage every new elected, whether they're in Tacoma, whether they're in Seattle or anywhere, don't just talk with people who agree with you or think like you do. Stretch yourself, reach out to people with differing ideas and differing viewpoints, and you might learn something. And I think one of the things that you might learn is that you have more in common with those people than you think you do. And once you can identify that, that's where you really start to gain traction with regard to making good policy, crafting good policy that gets the greatest amount of buy-in and really produces the greatest success for our city.
That's beautiful wisdom and beautifully said. Thank you so much, Councilmember Hunter, for being with us this evening and for 4 amazing years of service on the council. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk with
Hi there. You might wonder what a famous Hollywood celebrity like me is doing reading in the dark. Is this some new sort of Hollywood method acting? No, this is quite real. Did you know that Americans use about 4 times as much energy per year as the global average? We waste energy left and right, despite the fact that the dirty fossil fuels we use to power our energy sources wreak havoc on the natural world and destroys valuable wildlife habitats. By reading with my solar-powered night vision goggles, I'm saving energy and looking sleek.
You don't have to sit in the dark like Ed Begley Jr. to save the world. Fight climate change by speaking up for cleaner, smarter energy, including rooftop solar.
Oh, that's way better. Oh.
Do your part and find out other world-saving tips at betterthaned.org.
She has the drive, but there are still big hurdles ahead. At Junior Achievement, we're helping her overcome them by teaching her major life skills, like setting a budget and starting her career, so she's ready for what's ahead and can achieve 100% bigger dreams, like going from running races to running companies. Junior Achievement, 100 years, 100% ready.
Considering an online pharmacy? Explore BeSafeRx to find useful information and resources to help you purchase medicines safely online. A safe online pharmacy requires a doctor's prescription, has an address in the United States, has a licensed pharmacist, and is licensed by a state pharmacy board. It's best to stay away from online pharmacies that don't meet these criteria. Discover more helpful tips and resources at BeSafeRx. Go to fda.gov/BeSafeRx.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
You know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
Yeah, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, anything, you need to tell an adult, someone you know and trust. That can be hard, but speaking up about a problem is what helping a friend is all about.
So, like, imagine this. You're journeying down the boardwalk of life all by your lonesome. Don't freak out. What you need is like a new best buddy. Because life has much better vibes with a pal who just gets you. So like, whether you're looking for a fellow mystery solver or a best bud to just hang loose and eat snacks with, head on down to your local animal shelter, where you can like totally adopt a homeless dog or cat that's counting on finding someone like you. Adopt your next best friend, and together we will save them all.
It's feeling good. Let's Scooby-Dooby-Doo it!
Check out bestfriends.org to find out more about how you can totally save a life. Scooby snacks not included.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
Welcome back. Let's take a quick look at some of the numbers. Both council races as well as Civil Service Board and Port Commission. For School Board Director, Enrique Leon is leading with 64.51% of the vote. And for position 3, School Board, Corey Strozier is, of course, winning his position, and Chelsea McElroy, the two of them were unopposed. And for Director position 5, Elizabeth Bond-Bright is leading with 60.28% of the vote. Down at the Port of Tacoma, Commissioner position 1, John McCarthy, will retain his seat with 79.92% of the vote. And Dick Marzano with 61.45% of the vote will also retain his seat, position 2. And at position 4, Don Meyer with 56.2% of the vote.
Can you hear me now?
So just a couple of points, and then I'll tell you who our special guest is going to be. Pierce County, apparently, as of about 8 p.m. tonight, 16.98% is the percentage of voter turnout in our county, compared to 22.24% in King and Thurston at 22.58%. So voter turnout has been relatively low. The good news is that our Mayor Victoria Woodards is in the House with us. And one of the races that has caught the attention of everyone in the city is that of mayor, with challenges of COVID, homelessness, issues of social justice. This race has almost become a referendum on the city's approach to many of these issues. Our current Mayor Woodards is leading in the contest as of the last results. And so joining us right now, Mayor Victoria Woodards. Welcome.
Thank you. It's so good to be with you tonight.
So how are you feeling, first of all, as we talked about, some big issues were facing you over these last couple of years, and I think the voters are saying they still believe in your capacity to lead the city of Tacoma into the future. So how are you feeling about that?
Carol, I'm feeling humbled. I am certainly feeling humbled tonight by the results, and honored that, as difficult as the time as it's been, that the community here in Tacoma believes that I am the leader to take them through the next 4 years. You're right. We have a lot of issues facing this community, whether it's affordable housing or safety, recovering from COVID, transforming our city to becoming an anti-racist city. We've got a lot of work to do, but I'm honored tonight that the citizens said they believe in me and I'm the one to get that work done.
Well, yes, and it's nice to have had the momentum of these last couple of years. It feels like you were putting in place a framework for all of the work that you needed to do, lots of big things all happening at the same time. And so now you get to actually execute on your plan. Can we talk for just a moment about a couple of the things that Councilmember Thoms brought up as sort of the hallmarks of his time on the council? One was public safety. Yeah. What would you say is the city's scorecard so far in the area of public safety or community safety? How do you feel like we've done so far?
Well, you know, it's been a really rough couple of years, right? With the tragic killing of Manny Ellis, with the uprising across the United States, and really across the country, across the world, as it relates to policing. And I think we're at a point where we can really make a change and make a difference. I believe that Tacoma is blessed with a police department that truly wants to work on transformation. You know, when we came out with our resolution, the union came out, has been clamoring and standing up and asking for change. And I believe that we're the council to deliver that. Now, Carol, you well know as I do that it's not going to be easy. And we certainly know that when we talk about what safety means, it means different things for different parts of our community, for different people in our community. So we've got to make sure that we have a comprehensive plan to not only we have a comprehensive plan that makes everyone feel safe. For some, it's more police officers on the streets. And I agree, we've got to hire back those 40 plus officers that we're missing. But it also means making sure that there are street lights in every community, that there are parks, and that every community feels safe and has better relationships with the police. So we've got a lot of work to do, but I know that with the council that I'm working with and this community, we will get that done, and we will show the country what it looks like to have a police force that really does serve and protect.
And it looks like you're going to have some new faces on the council.
Yeah.
So maybe some fresh ideas and some more momentum to help support those initiatives. I do want to ask you the same thing I asked Councilmember Thoms about how you feel like we're doing on upfront investments, pre-911 work, behavioral health, family support, family stability, housing? How are we doing in the meeting basic needs, providing the services that we need? Do you feel like the city of Tacoma has a ways to go in making investments before the 911 call happens? We seem to be doing okay after.
Yeah, no, and Carol, I love that question, because when I talk about transforming Tacoma, people often think that we're just talking about public safety when we know that's not all we need to talk about. We do need to talk about housing. We do need to talk about healthcare. We do need to talk about economics, right? We need to look at all systems that create barriers. But I also think that, you know, I'm really glad that the county in this last year passed their 0.1% sales tax for mental health, which means we're going to have more investments in mental health, because we know as we look at our homeless community, as we look at other issues, there are a lot of mental health issues surrounding those issues that we talk about. So I think we've done a good job, but Carol, we can tell from driving through our city at the size of our homeless encampments and those who are living on our streets, it's obvious that we have a lot of work to do. And while I think we were on a better trajectory before COVID has certainly exacerbated the issues that I thought we were really getting a hold of before COVID. And now we as we start to come out of COVID and refocus not just our time and our energy, but actually our money. We're focusing 31% of our ARPA dollars right now on addressing the issue of homelessness. When we talk about we're cleaning up our city with ARPA dollars. So it's really making the right investments with those dollars to tackle these issues that we've already been working on, but to tackle the problems that have been exacerbated by COVID.
What about economic development? How do you see investments in economic development as being part of the solution? A lot of the rhetoric has sort of made it a two-sided issue. It's either policing or it's behavioral health and other types of pre-9/11 investments. But it's also about jobs, right? Yes. And people being able to sustain themselves with employment. So what are we doing about investments in economic development, or what do you see yourself doing in the future?
Well, so a couple things. One is we talk about COVID recovery, right? We're already supporting small businesses in Tacoma. So we're providing not just loans, but grants to small businesses so that they can make it through this COVID time. But once we get through COVID, it is about not just sustaining them, but growing them. I remind people all the time that we're the home to Weyerhaeuser. We're the home to Frank Russell. So you can start a small company here and grow it up here in Tacoma. I think the other focus we've got to have, especially with the new normal being working from home, right? Really looking at the people who live here and where they were going to work at, and becoming a hub in the South, right? Making sure that that people don't have to get back out on the highway and lose 3 hours in their day to travel somewhere, that they can just drive right downtown or to one of our business districts and be able to work there. So I think as we move forward as a city, that's, as we're talking to a lot of companies, we're talking about, you don't have to move your whole operation here, but you can have satellite offices here for your workers who are choosing to live here because it's more affordable and there's a better quality of life.
Well, thank you so very much for taking time to join us. I know you've got at least one party to get to, maybe more than one party. So thanks for taking time. And when we come back, everybody, we'll talk more about the Tacoma City Council races. So don't go away. Thank you, Mayor Woodards.
When it feels like the world has stopped, good finds a way. Good connects us, even when we can't get close. Good never stops, and neither does Children International. We help provide children and families with essentials like food assistance, hygiene education, medical help, and financial support. To learn more, go to children.org/help today.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school.
Jessica has been through a lot in her life from early childhood.
My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She came in looking to complete her diploma, She had a family she had to take care of. Anytime she needed help, we provided her help. She realized that we were here for her.
She wants to have a career so her kids could look up to her.
My graduation, it was something I will never forget. I couldn't explain the emotion I was feeling because people like you and me sometimes may have doubts in yourself, but I feel that everything's possible.
Jessica's future is brighter than ever.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
There are oceans and rocks, places where fish swim and birds fly. History is made, art is created, things happen that should always be remembered. Heroes emerge, a woman sets people free, a man makes light, a leader steps forward. It can be a place, a feeling, a state of mind. So get up, get out there, and find your park.
STEM is the discipline of hard numbers, precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to get messy, or just mess it up. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to try. Dare to fail. Dare to keep daring. Dare to learn the difference between organic, sedimentary, and non-foliated metamorphic rock. Get outside, find those rocks. Dare to be homeroom famous, a high school fable. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. And for the love of STEM, dare bigger. Dare to code, dare to invent, dare to explore, dare to STEM. Check out Chic and STEM to get started.
Interstate moving is much more complicated than just moving within your city or town.
Anyone can fall victim to moving fraud.
Do not sign a contract without knowing who you're dealing with.
Do the research on the company that's physically doing your moving.
Do as much diligence as you can and document as well as you can.
Do Better Business Bureau searches. I would Google the company online.
And the best place to find information is through the U.S. Department of Transportation.
Learn how to protect your belongings. Visit protectyourmove.gov.
Welcome back to Decision 2021. One of the more interesting items on the ballot is Pierce County Charter Amendment number 51. This amendment would make the position of prosecuting attorney nonpartisan. As we can see, the amendment in Pierce County is passing. At the last check, it was passing at about 71% of the vote. Also on the ballots are 3 advisory votes, and 1 for the House and 2 for the Senate, so let's take a look at those. Here in Pierce County, the vote is 62.59% to repeal advisory vote number 36, which involved a behavioral health tax on telephone lines. And advisory vote number 37 in Pierce County is also at 67.65% of the vote. The advisory vote is to repeal the tax on capital gains. And a similar result for advisory vote number 38 concerning a tax on captive insurers, 65.56% saying repeal. So, Tacoma City Council position 2 is being vacated by Robert Toms due to term limits, and it looks like my friend Sarah Rumbaugh is leading her opponent at the moment. And so joining us right now to talk about the race for position 2 is Sarah Rumbaugh. Welcome.
Thank you for having me here, Carol.
So is the party already underway, or are you?
Yeah, it's a little noisy at my house. I had a few friends over, supporters, and it's wonderful to have people who live in my community who supported me the whole time I was running. I'm just overwhelmed with the support that I've received.
So is it real yet for you, or are you still, a little bit nervous until the whole thing is certified? How are you feeling right now?
Well, I feel pretty confident. I've been in this place before where I ran before for Pierce County Council. And I think that when you've done something before, you become an expert at it the next time. And I feel like the things that I have done this time, I've just done the best I could do. So I feel pretty confident about the results as they stand today.
Now, you have a fairly significant history of helping other people win campaigns. So what made you finally decide to throw your hat in the ring, first for the county council and now for Tacoma City Council? What was the defining moment, or the catalyst for your decision?
Well, I would actually give credit to Congress member Marilyn Strickland for getting me to run for Pierce County Council. And I would say and thank a lot of strong women in our community who have brought me here today. People like Connie Ladenburg, who serve both on the Tacoma City Council and on the Pierce County Council. I've been helped by Representative Mari Levitt. Representative and Speaker of the House, Lori Jenkins, our former Senator Jeannie Darnielle, Representative Jake Fye. I think that, and I also want to give a strong call out to City Council member John Hines, who really has been there to support me the whole time. I just don't think I would be here without these strong leaders who come back and say, yes, you can do this, and support you the whole way, even when you're feeling a little uncertain about yourself. They are there to pick you up and remind you.
So Sarah, tell me, what's the one thing about you that's going to make a significant, noticeable difference on the council? How will you distinguish yourself?
Well, I would say the one thing that's going to make me a different person on the council is that I'm a leader. I'm someone who stands up for my values, and I'm consistent on where I am on the issues. And I think that we need people like that to serve in our community. I think that's the one thing that really will stand out for people, is that I just don't waver from what I believe. And my whole race was about values and how we treat each other. Even my opponent, who I stuck up for several times, we just can't be like that to each other. And I believe that divisiveness is what has driven us apart, and we are more similar than we think. And at the doors, I've met lots of my neighbors, and that's one of the messages I put forward, is that we need to learn to talk to each other differently, because we have to live here together in this community, and we have to work things out. And so I'm asking people to find a civil way to talk to each other so we can work through the issues.
Thank you for that. I think there's something to be learned about that at all levels of public service, and certainly starting on the Tacoma City Council is certainly a good place to start. So thank you so very much, and congratulations on what looks like it's going to be a very exciting year and more for you on the Tacoma City Council. So thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank
Appreciate
you
you being here. We've got so much more to cover with Council Districts 4, 5, and 6, so stay with us.
I don't know about you, but I miss being around people. And now that I'm fully vaccinated, I'm looking forward to sharing the best experiences my new home has to offer with our community. Can you imagine it? Puck drop for the first ever Seattle Kraken game. Your favorite artist live in concert, or the Seattle Storm back in the playoffs. Getting vaccinated is how we get back to doing the things we love with the people we love. Learn more at covidvaccinewa.org and help us shut out the virus.
Hey, did you buy something from some gaming site?
What do you mean?
Yeah, look, there's a bunch of different charges on here.
Do you think someone stole our credit card information?
I don't know. That site sounds familiar, though.
Yeah, isn't that the site that Billy's on all the time?
You don't think. Billy?
Stop and think before you connect. Playing online is serious business. Visit dhs.gov/stopthinkconnect for tips on how to be safe online.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
No, I don't think anybody sets out to be an addict.
It got really heavy after my ex assaulted me. They put me on a lot of prescription medications.
Injection drug usually looks like 99% of the population on Earth.
What stigma does is it creates shame. It drives people underground. And when you drive things underground, you make them truly dangerous.
I am what child hunger looks like in America. I am a 9-year-old boy who hopes a friend invites me to a sleepover so I can have dinner. I am a 15-year-old girl who goes for walks during lunch so my friends won't know I don't have anything to eat. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 7 American children who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Before you throw away those unused medicines,
those pills for your back pain or migraines,
just think for a minute. When you throw them in the trash, they can become lethal in the wrong hands.
There are better ways to dispose of your unused meds.
there are lots of police stations, local pharmacies, and hospitals that are approved to take in unused meds
and dispose of them safely,
so they don't end up in the wrong hands. Our hands.
To find a medicine disposal site near you, visit www.safe.pharmacy.
It has been a busy night, and so let's take a look at the returns. I know you are curious about what's happening. Our mayor, Victoria Woodards, is leading her race for mayor for re-election, that is, at 57% of the vote, and she'll be joined, it appears, by Kiara Daniels, who's leading with 57.9% for position 6 on the council. Also, District 2, Sarah Rumbaugh is leading her race with 63.84% of the vote. And for District 4, Catherine Ushka retains her seat with 65.98% of the vote. District 5 will have a new face with Joe Bushnell. He is leading with 56.14% of the vote. And for the Tacoma Civil Service position 1, Eric Hansen has 73.9% of the vote. And Dan Sexton, at last check, was at about 90% of the vote for position 2. The Port of Tacoma commissioners are going to stay pretty much the same. John McCarthy is leading with 79.92% of the vote for position 1. And at position 2, Dick Marzano is leading with 61.45% of the vote. And Don Meyer, another familiar face, currently leading with 56.2% of the vote for position 4. Metro Parks Tacoma Commissioner, position 3, Carolyn Edmonds is leading with 53.35% of the vote. And Tacoma School Board position 2 is led by Enrique Leon, 64.51% of the vote. Corey Strozier will be back at position 3, and Chelsea McElroy at position 4. Also position 5, Elizabeth Bonbright is leading with 60.28% of the vote. And Charter Amendment 51, which would make the prosecuting attorney a nonpartisan office, is being approved in Pierce County at 71% of the vote. The advisory votes are not doing so well here in Pierce County. Advisory vote number 36 is the advice is to repeal at 62.59% of the vote. Pretty much the same for advisory vote number 37, which concerns a tax on capital gains, and advisory vote number 38, concerning a tax on captive insurers. As we saw, Councilmember Ushka, who is currently on the council, is leading in the race for City Council position 4. And we're happy to have her joining us right now to discuss her lead. Thank you, Councilmember Ushka, for being here.
Thank you, Carol, and it's great to see you.
It's good to have you here. Your district has had a difficult week, a bit of tragedy. How are you doing mentally, physically, spiritually with everything that's been happening in your district over the past several weeks?
Oh, that's a huge question. Nobody signs up to lead during a pandemic and everything else that we've been through. You add the horrific activity that we've seen in the last few weeks, and you really have to search your soul for the reasons why you're doing the job, because it's hard work. And tonight I'm pretty enthusiastic because times is humbling, but it's also uplifting. My experience as a council member and as a community member is that when we're all working together, that's how we get through the really hard stuff. That's how we find the best answers. And I think that Tacomans made a lot of good choices tonight. And I'm grateful for my supporters. I'm grateful to the voters. And I'm looking forward to the work ahead, Carol. That more than answered the question you asked.
The work behind is pretty, the work you've done that's behind you is also pretty incredible. A lot of people may not know that you were instrumental in making sure that our Pierce County Health Department remained independent. You know, that was a very large issue about this time last year. And while they may not have known, you certainly were a key player in that regard. And of course, your background in the domestic violence space is fairly well known as well. How do you think we're doing? We asked this question of Councilmember Toms and of the mayor, how you think we're doing in some of the key areas around, let's start with public safety, because it has been a tragic several weeks on the east side. How do you feel like we're doing, and what do you think still needs to be done around, I would call it community safety, which is a little different than public safety maybe. What do you think still remains to be done?
I think that there's a lot of work that remains to be done and a lot of good steps that have been taken. I was working on the safety issues, well, before I was on council, but certainly before last week. The work that we need to do now is about police transformation. It's about looking at, as you say, community safety, exactly, because what makes any neighborhood or group feel safe looks different across the city, right? We've done some great work on youth violence prevention and have commissioned a study with the health department to really get some of the best practices from across the country together. And now for the first time, we have 6 different organizations contracted on the work that we're doing on the Youth Violence Prevention Task Force. That's relevant because they're going to work together for best practices and best outcomes working beside community instead of coming with a formula that we apply to community. That all sounds like heady policy work, but it's really about making sure that we're working beside our neighbors through whatever they're going through and finding the policy options and the real life on the ground options that make those moments survivable and successful from there.
How do you think the transformation work is going? I know, people perhaps had expectations that things would just happen very quickly and rapidly once you stood up the Heal the Heart of Tacoma project, but we know that it takes time for the people who are working on that effort to storm and norm and form and to put together a plan. So how is that transformation work going, and what do you think what can we hope to see in the near future from the transformation side of the work?
Thank you. There's a lot of work that has been done. It's difficult to see because in the middle of this, we're seeing other crises emerge, like the event on the east side, but other activity around town at the same time. So it's harder to see the progress as the problems get worse, not just in Tacoma, but all over the country. There's been increases in violence and other activity and challenges with police recruitment. So we've instituted body cameras across the department, and that's been implemented. Government never works fast enough, but it's because we have to take the time to really be thoughtful, because it's too important not to get it wrong, if that makes sense. We can look forward in the mid-budget modification to seeing divertible calls for service funded and some mental health funding. That's going to help take the pressure off police and put the hands of the right work with the right people in the right place, and then allow police to focus on jobs that police need to do. There's another number of other items that you're going to see there as well. And that includes looking at that violence prevention across the board, including domestic violence and other types of violence, and seeing where it fits organizationally so that we can look towards standing up a community safety office that has a strategic directive and is well funded, so that this work doesn't just start and stop with this council, but it evolves through the years, because we're not going to solve all the problems in the next 4 years. The foundation for progress.
I thank you very much for saying that, because we do need something that's sustainable for more than just the present moment. So I appreciate your foresight and your thoughtfulness about the work, and congratulations, you are leading. And so that means you will continue to lead, we hope, in the very powerful way that you have over these last several years. So thank you very much, Councilmember Ushka, for being here tonight. Go celebrate.
Thank you. Thank you.
And don't go away. We've got more just ahead, so stay with us.
COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Food and Drug Administration have many safety monitoring systems to make sure every vaccine is as safe as possible. One of these systems is VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. VAERS accepts reports from anyone: patients, parents, caregivers, and healthcare providers. Healthcare providers are required to report certain adverse events after vaccination. VAERS studies reports of possible health problems, also called adverse events, after vaccination. VAERS can't prove a vaccine caused a problem, but it acts as an early warning system to help CDC and FDA decide whether a potential safety issue exists. VAERS reports patterns that warn scientists of possible health problems that might need more study. Vaccine safety experts look for unusually high numbers of health problems or a pattern of problems after people get a particular vaccine. It's normal there will be some reports of health problems after people get a vaccination. However, most health problems found shortly after vaccination were not actually caused by the vaccine. CDC closely monitors all data, including reports to VAERS, to make sure all vaccines are as safe as possible. CDC and FDA use other vaccine safety systems to figure out if the health problem is caused by the vaccine or not. If it looks like a vaccine might be causing a problem, CDC and FDA will alert the public, investigate further, and take action. If you want to learn more about VAERS, visit vaers.hhs.gov.
Meet Norm. He lives with anxiety, but with the help of this latest innovation from Be Normal, he can be normal, just like everyone else. With the swipe of a finger, you can project happiness, confidence, machismo. Why settle for being real when you can be normal? The Normal Maker. New from Be Normal. This item doesn't really work because there's no such thing as normal. We're all different. What we like, how our brains work. In fact, 1 in 5 of us live with mental illness. Don't filter who you are. Start by talking to someone you trust. And remember, there is no normal.
My name's Mark. I'm an alcoholic.
Dorothy T. And I am an alcoholic.
For so long, alcohol has sort of been there for me to sort of see me through social situations.
Drinking was more important than anything else.
My journey in AA started years ago when I reached the outside limits of my desperation.
I really wanted to quit drinking. I just couldn't stop on my own. And you know, I remember when I woke up on the day that I got sober. I felt something inside of me tell me that I could go to AA.
These people, you know, just gathered around me. That was the fellowship in action in my life.
The moral of my story today is that AA has never let me down, ever.
If I carry any sort of message with my story, it's that, you know, keep coming back and that this thing does work.
If you have a problem with alcohol, contact AA. It works.
No one should face breast cancer alone. I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. When I was diagnosed in 1980, there was no internet and little information available to make an informed decision. Today at NBCF, we help women at every step of their breast cancer journey. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. Learn more at nbcf.org/hope.
The races for city council and mayor have been very interesting and a couple of surprises. So let's take a look. Of course, our own Mayor Victoria Woodards is leading in the race for mayor with 57.78% of the vote. Kiara Daniels is leading for position 6 with 57.91% of the vote. And for District 2, Sarah Rumbaugh is leading with 63.84% of the vote. And in District 4, Catherine Ushka retains her seat with 65.98% of the vote. Joe Bushnell is leading in District 5 with 56.14% of the vote. And, of course, Council Member Chris Beal, who holds the seat for City Council Position 5, chose not to seek re-election this year, which put what was probably a predictable election into a bit of unpredictability. And as we saw, Joe Bushnell is now leading in that contest against Ann Artman. So joining us right now is Joe Bushnell. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you for having me.
Well, this will be the first, I'm sure, of many opportunities to be on television live, being asked a lot of crazy questions maybe. So how are you feeling right now, and what's going on at your party, or is there a party happening?
Yeah, I'm here with a lot of other folks and we're celebrating. I'm really humbled by these results. I wasn't sure what to expect. You know, I've never run for office before, and I could feel myself, my heart palpitating quite a bit leading up to this election. And, you know, I'm just speechless. There's so many people to thank. I definitely didn't do this on my own. And yeah, it definitely took a community effort to come out with this.
Well, you've been on the Tacoma Public Utility Board, but that's an appointed role. So Who was it or what was it that made you throw your hat into the ring for City Council, which is a very different type of public service?
Yeah, thank you. That's a fantastic question. To me, service to the community, service to country, is one of the highest honors a person can have. And after a decade of service with the Marine Corps, I've been volunteering and doing a lot of work out in the community. And I've just been looking for how can I continue to serve? How can I try and make the community better? And the opportunity came up to come on the utility board. And so, I was like, all right, let me see if I can take that step and try and serve in that capacity and serve our ratepayers through the utilities. And then the opportunity came up for council. And to me, I was like, you know what? People always told me growing up, be the change you want to see. And there was changes that I would like to see for our city. And as being born and raised here, and these as a first generation Cambodian American, my mother having fled from the Khmer Rouge genocide back in the 80s, we've struggled a lot. And this opportunity just doesn't come very often. And in the Marine Corps, we always we're told to you have to seize the initiative. And so I threw my hat in the ring and put my best foot forward, and the voters have spoken.
And so where, Joe, do you think you will start to focus your attention? Your military training, certainly, like Robert Toms, and I think Catherine Ushka has military background. Where will you focus your attention first? There's some pretty significant issues facing the city of Tacoma, which means you'll be addressing those. Any sense of where you will start?
I'll also mention the mayor. She was in the Army. But yeah, I heard resoundingly loud and clear that the priorities that my district want me to tackle is housing affordability, homelessness, public safety, and also bringing good jobs to our area so folks don't have to travel 2+ hours in order to find good work. A lot of the people in my district have to travel either down to Thurston County or King County in order to find a family wage job to support themselves and their families. And I'm committed to tackling those issues and supporting the community and resolving them.
Do you think you'll bring something new? I asked this question of Sarah Rumbaugh, who is also going to be a new addition, at least based on the numbers as they stand right now. What is it that you think will define Joe Bushnell's term on the city council? What about you?
I've worked with folks that are from all across the political spectrums, and I've led Marines, over 150 Marines, during my last duty assignment. And, they come from all kinds of different backgrounds, all kinds of different histories and stories. And that's the story of our community. We have a diverse backgrounds, diverse political thoughts. But at the end of the day, the mission still needs to get accomplished. And, the issues in Tacoma still need to get accomplished. And one of my strengths is being able to work with people across the spectrum in order to find compromise, find ways that we can get solutions. Like not how we always say no to everything. Like, how do we get to yes? How do we make these solutions happen, and how do we make them work for our community? And I've been doing that, as on trying to bring those issues forward as the board chair of the South Tacoma Neighborhood Council. And a lot of those voices I would like to amplify and make sure, I'm listening and understanding and, coming up, helping solve those problems and deal with those issues.
Well, one of the things that Council Member Hunter mentioned is that collaboration and working together is going to be really important. Do you think that's a strength of yours?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm always, for me, I always try to put my best foot forward. I always respect people, and I expect the same, respect back. Unless they give me a reason not to, I'm still a Marine, and I don't take anything lying down, for sure. But I'm always, if people approach me with respect and dignity, like I think everybody else in our community wants and deserves, we're gonna accomplish great things together.
Well, thank you so very much, and congratulations, Joe Bushnell. good luck. It looks like you're going to be sitting on the council come January. So appreciate the time tonight and thank you for being here. We
Thank you
still
so
have
much.
more ahead, so we'll be right back. Stay there.
Certain things just don't mix. And in the Pacific Northwest, yard chemicals in Puget Sound certainly don't mix. When it rains, water carries yard chemicals to storm drains that lead to our rivers, streams, lakes, and Puget Sound. Avoid chemical pesticides and fertilizers. Try compost, mulch, and native plants instead. Healthy families, healthy communities, healthy Puget Sound. Now that's a perfect mix. PugetSoundStartsHere.org.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Good morning. Hope you all had a good weekend and are ready to be inspired. One quick thing I want to remind you guys to be studying.
Major key alert. Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Today we're talking about inspirational quotes.
You want to get that paper? You better turn in that paper and get an A+. That's a major key. Another one.
Mogul talk. You want to reach the mountaintop? You got to go hard. To succeed, you have to believe.
Stay focused. Fly higher than the eagle. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote from recent history?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchool.com.
My name is Teresa Mitchell and I work for the state at the Department of Fish and Wildlife. I think for me, cost savings was a primary driver for looking for a van pool or an alternate commute option, just not having the wear and tear on my vehicle. My favorite part of the van pool is just being able to turn off for the ride on the days that I'm not driving the van. You know, just you can disconnect and have some chill time, or you can chat with people. It's just really relaxing.
Find your van pool at InnerCityTransit.com. Your first month is free.
While consumer use of electronics continues to grow, the environmental footprint continues to shrink, thanks to lighter, less material-intensive, and more energy-efficient products. The Consumer Technology Association and its members want to help minimize environmental impacts by making recycling old tech devices as easy as buying new ones. Your old TV, smartphone, or computer can give new life to new products. Go to greenergadgets.org, put in your zip code, and find convenient drop-off locations. Live green, buy green, and recycle responsibly at greenergadgets.org.
How prepared is your family if a wildfire shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or an earthquake? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Welcome back to Decision 2021 here on TV Tacoma. I'm Carol Mitchell. What a night it has been. There have been some interesting races this entire year, frankly. So let's take a look at the returns now. Mayor Victoria Woodards is leading her race, 57.78% of the vote. And for Tacoma City Council position 6 at large, Kiara Daniels is leading that race with 57.91% of the vote. And Sarah Rumbaugh is leading in District 2 with 63.84% of the vote. Catherine Ushka at 65.98% of the vote will retain the seat in District 4. And Joe Bushnell appears to be leading and joining the council with 56.14% of the vote for District 5. Tacoma Civil Service Position 1, Eric Hansen is leading, 73.99% of the vote. And Position 2, Dan Sexton has about 90% of the vote. Port of Tacoma, again, stays pretty much the same. For Commissioner Position 1, John McCarthy's leading with 79.92%. At Position 2, Dick Marzano at 61.45%. And at Position 4, Don Meyer with 56.2% of the vote. Carolyn Edmonds is leading for Position 3 on the Metro Parks Tacoma Commission. And Enrique Leon is leading for Position 2 of Tacoma School Board with 64.51% of the vote. Corey Strozier is leading in Position 3. He ran unopposed, as well as Chelsea McElroy for Position 4 on the Tacoma School Board. And for Position 5, Elizabeth Bonbright at 60.28% of the vote. For the Charter Amendment 51, which would make the Prosecuting Attorney's Office a nonpartisan office, that seems to be approved at 71.35% of the vote. The advisory votes are not faring too well at the moment. Advisory vote number 36 is, the advice is to repeal it at 56.53% of the vote. The same for advisory vote number 37 and number 38, all seeming to be headed towards repeal. The race for Tacoma City Council Position 6 that was vacated or is being vacated by Lillian Hunter is a race with a lot of eyes on it. And as we saw in the returns, Kiara Daniels is leading in that race with a pretty significant margin. So joining us right now to discuss her lead is Kiara Daniels. Thank you for being here tonight. Hello, how are you feeling? You look fabulous. So what's going on? Is there a party at your house? I know your mother's partying.
You know, so I'm at the Caballeros Club. I'm at Ray Gibson's Caballeros, just in case anybody doesn't know what that is. And everybody's partying downstairs. And when you just showed the numbers, I just heard all my family and friends screaming. So it felt really, really good.
Stop by there.
Yeah. I'm upstairs in the quiet in the little corner. And I know you've been down here. So
oh,
you know
yes. Many times. I have my spot. Well, congratulations to you so far. You ran and you got out in front, as Lillian Hunter said. You started your campaign early. Yeah. What was it that was the catalyst for you to take this step into a very public, visible role in politics? You had been on the Community Police Advisory Commission, but this was something much bigger and much riskier. Why did you do it?
You know, I have many, many reasons, but, you know, my family is just a really big pusher for me. And 2020 was like such a pivotal year for us. I wish I could say it was something pretty and something nice, but I had a cousin pass away, and, you know, there was a lot of social structures and a lot of systems that had a huge role to do in that passing. And it just affected me in a way that said, like, I can't wait. Like, nobody is coming to save Tacoma. Nobody's going to build housing for us. Nobody's going to do the things that we need done if I don't get out there and do that, or if somebody doesn't get out there and just do the work. And so it's not on me to wait. It's on me to do the things that my family and my community has put me in position to do. So,
well, you come from good stock. And you have a big job ahead of you, and one of those is this issue of public safety. How do you
Yeah.
think your work on the Community Police Advisory Commission has informed what you will now perhaps get a chance to do on the council?
Yeah, I mean, that's not lost upon me, right? Like, I think more than what I feel has been an equal of challenge and happiness. And what I know is that we got a lot of work ahead of us. And when I think about public safety, when I think about the little people that are coming after me, when I think about my family members who drive, when I think about everybody in our community, including our police, I think about us having a community that is safe, that is taken care of, that is whole, and that is nourished, so that we don't have to do so much of the work that comes after. We do what comes before, right? And I think that we really can do that if we think differently about what public safety means and what it means for everybody in our community. And that's one of the really big things that I've been thinking about. And especially on CPAC, my role has been to call out the things that haven't sat right with me, and that sometimes are the most difficult things to say. And so I really look forward to being on a council and being on a body that is ready and that is as passionate about Tacoma as I am, and that is ready and willing to do the work right alongside me, because my spirit, I have ancestors that won't let me sleep until we are okay. So
hey, your ancestors are shouting victory right now. I can feel the ground moving around the TV Tacoma studio. So one comment that came up is that collaboration is going to be really important. That's what Lillian Hunter is offering as wisdom in the last 10, 15 seconds here. What do you have to say about that? Are you ready to collaborate?
I've been ready to collaborate. That's the only thing that's gotten me here. I've collaborated with our community. I've collaborated with our city. I've collaborated with our mayor. I'm so excited for what we're about to do. And I know that this can only work if we really bring everybody in. And that's really what I've been from the beginning, is a community engagement professional. I am professional at bringing folks to the table. And that means everybody, folks that have been underrepresented, folks that have been most represented. How do we bring everybody to the table and figure out how to make our city move forward in a fantastic way, in the way that we should, right? How do we become the best of the best of the best that I know we can be?
Well, thank you for setting the example and doing the best that you could do on this campaign. It has paid off, and congratulations, and much fortune to you, and go celebrate. Thank you, Kiara.
Thank you.
And I thank you for allowing me to host tonight's election results. We heard some very powerful themes from those who have served and are on their way out of the council, and new voices, new faces that are coming in. I'm encouraged by the diversity of perspectives and experience that is coming to the council. You've got Joe Bushnell, who is a first-generation Cambodian who is coming. What a story. His family certainly has to tell about life here in Tacoma and Pierce County. And so I'm excited about the new faces and the new voices and the new opportunities to collaborate. The city of Tacoma is facing some pretty significant issues around houselessness, around affordability, around economic development. And of course, communication has been somewhat divisive over the last year or so. And so it'll be interesting to see whether or not this new council can engage in a more collaborative approach with community voices as part of the decision-making process. And I think Catherine Ushka might have said it best tonight, that she wants to stand up a community safety office that will outlast this council. And so making investments up front in behavioral health, in family stability, in jobs creation, and in making a community that is safe for all who live here, and not just those who have privilege and resources. So we look forward to the work of this new council. It looks like Mayor Victoria Woodards will continue to lead the city of Tacoma And so stay tuned for more great public service from our own Tacoma City Council and Mayor. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm Carol Mitchell.